Hello everyone, this is Earth Archives. Even though there are various radars and satellites monitoring the world, there are still many incidents of aircraft disappearing. Today we will talk about 8 incredible incidents of aircraft disappearing. Maybe you can think of the reasons for the disappearance. Before the show starts, please subscribe, share, and turn on the little bell. This will help us grow faster. Without further ado, the show begins. It's intriguing, isn't it? How something as massive and sophisticated as an airliner could simply vanish, leaving behind a tapestry of riddles and few tangible threads to unravel it. This rarity is what makes unsolved aviation mysteries all the more captivating and perplexing, simultaneously underscoring the dependability of air travel and the haunting questions left by these anomalies. One can't help but be drawn to these stories, their unresolved melodies often resonating through the annals of aviation and beyond. They're like complex puzzles, where pieces are scattered by winds, waves, and the whims of fate, challenging investigators who are tasked with piecing together the minutiae from whatever may be found, if at all. These tragic ballets of disappearance, where airliners take their unintended bows off the world's grand stage into oblivion, strike chords of both fear and fascination. The sheer improbability of such events, set against the backdrop of modern aviation's stellar safety record, is a stark contrast that only deepens the enigma. 1. Egyptair Flight 804, May 19, 2016. The crash of the Airbus A320 over the Mediterranean Sea indeed remains an enigma, with conflicting reports making the final moments and the cause of this tragedy even more mysterious. The presence of the digital flight data and cockpit voice recorders, normally the definitive voice in painting the last picture of a doomed flight, has not dispelled the fog of uncertainty in this case. The dichotomy of the early Egyptian stance, suggesting a catastrophic event such as terrorism due to detected explosive traces, against the French claim of a more gradual disaster, like a spreading fire, shows how divergent the interpretations of the same data can be. It's a stark reminder of the intricacies that define the meticulous science of air crash investigations, and how they can be influenced by the various lenses through which they are scrutinized. The aviation community relies on the data from such recorders to understand the dynamics of a crash. The sudden turns and descent patterns picked up by the radars, behavior suggestive of an attempt to manage an on-board crisis, like trying to vent smoke, pose haunting questions about the pilot's state of mind and the unfolding emergency. The conclusion drawn by French investigators about a pilot smoking and a leaking oxygen mask as contributing factors paints a grim picture of an internal issue that spiraled out of control. Whether it was a fire that started small or another sudden catastrophic event, each piece of evidence helps construct a timeline that investigators hope will lead to concrete answers. 2. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, March 8, 2014. The perplexing disappearance of Flight MH370 indeed strikes a unique and somber note in the annals of aviation mysteries. Its vanishing acts not just an aircraft, but the lives and stories of 239 people. The fascination and continued attention this case commands speak volumes about the profound effect it has had worldwide. The bewildering path the aircraft took, veering off course and flying toward the Indian Ocean, defies easy explanation. The absence of definitive wreckage, despite the colossal search efforts, only deepens the enigma. The debris collected from various shores sparks glimmers of insight but falls short of providing the full narrative. Investigators and experts trawl through the data, piecing together elements of Flight MH370's ill-fated journey. The Malaysian government's report, which points to unlawful interference, suggests human intervention rather than a mechanical malfunction propelled the tragedy. It's a chilling implication that someone might have commandeered the vast machine to its mysterious end. The possibility of the aircraft's silent, lone voyage across the Indian Ocean, until it could no longer defy gravity without fuel, adds an almost eerie loneliness to the scenario, a tragic flight path across nature's watery vastness leading to an unmarked watery grave. 3. Flying Tiger Line Flight 739, March 16, 1962. The mysterious disappearance of the Lockheed L-1049 Super Constellation on its journey from California to Saigon represents one of those haunting questions that linger in the annals of aviation history. Such incidents, occurring with a lack of conclusive evidence and under circumstances shrouded in secrecy, often retain an aura of intrigue and unresolved speculation. The perfect flight conditions and the absence of a distress signal compound the enigma of the lost aircraft, deepening the poignant sense of mystery and misfortune. Like a ghost ship of the skies, the fate of the 93 U.S. Army Rangers, South Vietnamese military members, and the crew, all locked in a silent chapter of the early Vietnam War narrative, remains unknown. The massive search effort that ensued bore a poignant echo of the search for Amelia Earhart, yet the yield was similarly fruitless, with the vast expanses of the Pacific Ocean keeping its secrets tightly. The report of an explosion and the specter of two flaming objects descending into the ocean depths add layers of tragedy to an already somber tale. The proximity of the disappearance to an earlier flying Tiger Line crash in Alaska, although undoubtedly a harrowing coincidence, must have amplified concerns about vulnerability at the time. Despite such fears, the inability to ascertain a probable cause leaves the history books open-ended on this chapter, the curtains undrawn on the final act. 4. Pan Am Flight 7, November 9, 1957. The fate of the Boeing 377 Stratocruiser, named the Clipper Romance of the Skies, endures as one of the luxurious enigmas of the sky. With the zenith of mid-century aviation luxury on board, the sudden disappearance of this ocean liner of the air juxtaposed the heights of human achievement with the depths of tragedy. The thought that passengers might have enjoyed an evening of unprecedented comfort and luxury, reminiscent of a bygone era of romantic, glamorous air travel, just hours before a harrowing plunge into the Pacific, lends a chilling contrast to the narrative. The loss of radar contact without a distress call adds an abrupt and eerie note to the aircraft's flight record. The discovery of debris and victims so far from Honolulu, with life vests donned, suggests a grim awareness among the crew and passengers of their impending doom. Yet, with the aircraft's remnants and many of its passengers swallowed by the ocean, the full story of the Clipper Romance of the Skies remains elusive to this day. The elevated levels of carbon monoxide found in the recovered victims add yet another layer of complexity to the case, outlining a possible but unresolved avenue of inquiry. With no evidence of foul play or sabotage, determined by the Civil Aeronautics Board, closure for this case seems as distant as the fateful aircraft's intended destinations. 5. Canadian Pacific Airlines, July 21, 1951. The disappearance of the Douglas District of Columbia 4 during its journey to Tokyo to support the Korean airlift adds another haunting chapter to the chronicles of aerial vanishings. The cloud of war hanging over its mission renders the aircraft's fate all the more poignant, as it was contributing to a greater effort amidst global conflict. Navigating through the treacherous weather conditions of rain, limited visibility, and icing, a perilous cocktail that has proven to be the nemesis of many seasoned aviators, the airliner's final check-in near the Alaskan Panhandle serves as a stark reminder of the fine edge upon which safe air travel balances. The extensive, but ultimately futile, search efforts that followed resonate with a sense of desolation, not just for the vanished aircraft, but also for the collective expectation of closure that never came. Such scenarios impel both nations and industries to innovate and devise more resilient ways to confront and mitigate the dangers that crew and passengers may face in the skies. Just as adverse weather conditions and technical challenges test the limits of aviation, a diverse array of threats loom over the domain of digital security, compelling the development of advanced safeguards. 6. Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 2501, June 23, 1950. The tragic account of the District of Columbia 4 prop plane encountering severe weather over Lake Michigan is a grim tapestry woven with the unpredictable fury of nature and the sorrowful threads of human fate. The storm that night ensnared not just the aircraft but also the hopes and stories of those aboard, intertwining them forever with the mysterious depths of the lake. The pilot's unexplained request to descend to a lower altitude, denied due to air traffic, and the subsequent loss of communication forge a narrative rife with despair. The phrase, like a stock car with a blown head gasket, used to describe the aircraft's faltering sound, paints a visceral image of mechanical distress, and the terrific flash, observed by witnesses suggests a sudden and catastrophic end. The misdirection of the initial search efforts, misguided by evidence pointing to places where hope of discovery faded, only intensifies the ordeal. The subsequent findings of branded blankets, cushions, and irrevocable proof of lost lives highlight the tragic misstep in locating the wreckage. The inability of divers to find the plane in the murky lake waters, where visibility is marred by the aquatic environment, adds a layer of complexity to this historical aviation puzzle. To this day, the Civil Aeronautics Board's conclusion of unknown resonates with the humbling realization that not all mysteries are solvable, and some truths remain obscured at the bottom of nature's vast reservoirs. Even as advanced sonar technology now combs acres of lakebed, uncovering shipwrecks but still no trace of Flight 2501, the search continues, not just for the wreckage but for answers that might bring some solace, however delayed, to the hearts of those touched by the tragedy. The resonance of this and similar incidents across the decades has been a catalyst for improvement in weather forecasting, aeronautical technology, and emergency preparedness, an endeavor paralleled in the digital world with the innovation of cybersecurity measures that anticipate and respond to the looming squalls of online threats. 7. British South American Airways Star Aerial, January 17, 1949. The Bermuda Triangle, with its shadow of enigma, has long captivated imaginations and spawned a myriad of theories that hover between the scientific and the supernatural. The vanishing of the Star Aerial, an Avro Tudor Mark IV, during what was reported to be fine weather, only deepens the aura of mystery associated with this region of the Atlantic. The abrupt end to radio contact, the absence of distress signals, and the subsequent failure of British investigators to locate any debris conjure more questions than answers. The decision to record the cause of the accident as unknown rests as an unsettled chapter in the lexicon of aviation history, fueling ongoing speculation and exploration. The Bermuda Triangle has been a crucible for the development of rigorous standards in communication, navigation, and search and rescue processes. The unresolved disappearances within this fabled maritime corridor serve as somber reminders of the immensity of our oceans and the limits of our understanding. 8. British South American Airways Star Tiger, January 30, 1948. The narrative you're depicting is of two eerie and mysterious aviation incidents involving British South American Airways, BSAA, aircraft in the late 1940s, which would later become part of the Bermuda Triangle law. The disappearance of the Star Tiger on January 30, 1948, remains one of the era's most perplexing aviation mysteries, followed closely by the loss of the Star Aerial on January 17, 1949. Both the Star Tiger and the Star Aerial were Avro Tudor IV aircraft, a British design that carried passengers post-World War II. The Star Tiger's disappearance during a transatlantic flight from Santa Maria in the Azores to Bermuda particularly confounded investigators. From the final radio communications, which appeared routine, there were no indications of any trouble aboard. However, the aircraft never arrived at its destination, and no subsequent distress signals suggested what might have befallen it and the 31 souls on board. Despite extensive rescue and recovery efforts, no trace of the Star Tiger was found. No debris, no oil slicks, nothing that could offer tangible clues as to the whereabouts of the aircraft or survivors. This vacuum of evidence, coupled with the limits of mid-20th century technology and search capability, meant that investigators were unable to determine a cause for the disappearance. It was truly, as the official investigation termed it, an unsolved mystery that has since been fodder for speculation ranging from navigational errors to more otherworldly explanations. The loss of the Star Aerial under similarly mysterious circumstances exacerbated concerns about the safety of the Tudor IV aircraft and the area of the Atlantic where both planes vanished. These incidents contributed to the mystique of the Bermuda Triangle, a region roughly bounded by Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, where ships and planes have been said to disappear under mysterious circumstances. What do you think about this story? Please leave your comments. See you in the next episode.